Jordan Clarkson has asked to be traded. Jordan knows that the Jazz, under the rules of the CBA, can't extend him. And Jake, I think this is one of those stories that, you know, quite frankly, I don't see that there's a happy ending no matter how this works out. Because I just don't see a way that the Utah Jazz can keep Jordan Clarkson. He is easily, I think, the Utah Jazz most popular player.
Right.
But under the terms of the CBA, the Jazz can only extend Jordan Clarkson to 120%. Even if they trade Jordan, he can sign an extension that's 105% of his current year's salary. He's only making about $14 million. They could only extend him out to about $16 million. There's no way that the Jazz can pay Jordan Clarkson even close to his market value, which is somewhere around $20 to $22 million. Jake, I don't see how this conversation ends with Jordan Clarkson wearing a note on his chest.
Yeah, it doesn't. It ends with him going to a contending team, and this is what we've been saying for a week at this point. Like, you need to trade Jordan Clarkson, and I feel like, once again, and we're going to talk about Ryan Smith later in the show, but once again, we find ourselves in a situation where I'm not going to trade Joe Ingles, I'm not going to trade Jordan Clarkson, and we need to trade Jordan Clarkson now because Jordan understands the CBA, as you were just explaining, and he understands the position that he's in, and he also understands that he's not getting younger. He also understands that he needs to go ahead and try to win another championship here. And I think Jordan is acutely aware of the fact that he's one of the best players on a bad team. And that's just the reality of the situation. And I don't think that that's where he wants to be. And frankly, I don't think that's where most players want to be. They want to be, trying to be the best player on the best team, not the worst team. So to me, it is an unfortunate situation. However, this is the business of basketball. When we tell you, hey, you can't be emotional about these guys, you can't be so attached to these guys that you're surprised when a guy like Jordan Clarkson comes out and says, hey, move me to a contender. That is life. That's going to happen. So I just think this solidifies, hey, you need to trade the guy as soon as you can possibly trade him.
Well, I also think from a business perspective, this is a no-brainer. I mean, this is not a difficult decision whatsoever. Jordan Clarkson is on the wrong side of 30. He is likely to get $60 to $65 million worth of an extension over 3 years when he does go to free agency this summer. That's just a non-starter for the Utah Jazz based on where they are and where they're going. I mean, they are a rebuilding team at this point. They are a fringe playoff team. In 3 years, they will likely just be competing as a contender for a Western Conference championship. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense based on the timeline and where the Jazz are. For Jordan Clarkson, he's a valuable contributor on a contending team. And I think the Jazz almost have no choice but to trade Jordan because they can't extend him. They can't pay him to the level that others can. Why would you hold him back? He has been a good teammate. He has been a good player for this team. Remember, he's won a Sixth Man of the Year award. Jordan Clarkson's done a lot. He's the guy that you use to roll out those new uniforms. You owe this to Jordan Clarkson. He's been a good team man. You need to trade Jordan Clarkson to a contender, Jake. And I think that's the question. Will they do that? I don't know that they will do that. I mean, certainly there are a lot of teams around this league that have interest in Jordan.
Yeah.
I was told yesterday by an NBA source that the market will be, quote, robust for Jordan Clarkson should the Jazz choose to make him available. I would believe that the Lakers certainly would have to have interest in that. The Suns would have interest in that. The Atlanta Hawks would have interest in that. Yeah. I'd have to think the New York Knicks would have interest in that. I mean, he is an upgrade for just about every sixth man around this league. And if you can afford Jordan Clarkson, I don't know how you don't make that trade.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why I say, like, I just think that this, I'm not going to sit here and say this was certainly an inevitability, if you will. Like, this was always going to be the case. Like, I think before yesterday happened, there was some thought that, hey, maybe we can extend him and we can work with Jordan on a deal or whatever. But I think that, again, guys, listen, athletes understand that their time in their given profession is not forever. And Jordan understands, I would assume, that, hey, yeah, while I went to the NBA Finals as part of Cleveland's roster, in 17-18, like, I wasn't like the face of that team. I wasn't some integral part of them winning a championship. I just wasn't. That was a different time in Jordan's career. So I think what Jordan truly covets, based on the information we have and what he's asking to have happen here, is Jordan wants to go to a Boston or some contender, somebody who is for sure in the playoffs and going to play for a championship, and he wants to go and be that difference maker that puts him over the top. That's what I would guess, more even than wanting to be paid $24 a year. I think that's what he wants.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a scenario where the Jazz keep him. It just makes absolutely no sense. That's a first-round pick in this year's draft sitting on your roster who has now asked you to be traded. It makes all the sense in the world for the Jazz to do this. I think it's not an easy trade. I think, from what I was told yesterday, again, that Jordan Clarkson and Ryan Smith have a very good relationship. There is mutual respect. They clearly like each other. I think this is going to be a very difficult split for both sides. I think Jordan has handled himself remarkably well. It was pointed out to me that he has been very, very quiet. He has been very private about his desire to win a championship. Now, I think Jordan is a couple of things. I think he's a very savvy businessman. I think Jordan Clarkson realizes, as you said, that his championship window and his value to a championship contender is only shrinking. It's not growing. When you are Jordan Clarkson's age, which is right on 30, generally the slide is steep, and it's going to be difficult to play at the level that he plays at. I think he's doing exactly the right thing. Because I also want to make this clear. I was told straightforward, this is not a trade demand, trade me or else. This is Jordan Clarkson going to the Jazz and saying, I am not going to sign a contract extension. I would like to be traded to a contender. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Jordan has gone out of his way to be very private about it. Jordan has gone out of his way not to be a distraction. I don't see how you don't grant this request if you're the Jazz. One, it's better for your organization. Two, it's better for the player. And three, if you're keeping him, I think you're being selfish. Mm-hmm. There's no upside to keeping him. He's not going to be an all-star this year. He's not a guy that is vital to your win and loss success because, frankly, winning and losing is not what's paramount for this club this year. It makes all the sense in the world to trade Jordan Clarkson. And my guess is Danny Ainge views Jordan Clarkson as a guy who can bring him a first-round pick. And what have we talked about all week long on this show? The equation is, get me 4 first-round picks this year. You've already got 3, your own, Minnesota's pick, and I believe it'll be Brooklyn's pick. So you'll have at least 3 in the first round. If you trade Jordan Clarkson, that's 4. And if you make the Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt THT deal to get John Collins from Atlanta, which I believe is a pretty good, there's a pretty good chance that trade happens.
Right.
I would put that trade at 65, 70% that trade happens. You have the potential in those deals to wind up with 5 to 6 first-round picks. That's what we call leverage, control, power in the NBA. Those are transformative pieces of currency that you can't replicate any other way. And certainly keeping Jordan Clarkson doesn't add up to a transformative move for this Utah Jazz team. I know it's painful. I know it's hard. I know as a Jazz fan, it's difficult to say goodbye to Rudy Gobert. I know it's difficult to say goodbye to, Donovan Mitchell, Royce O'Neal, Jordan Clarkson, all of that.
The team you knew.
Yeah, the team you knew and loved over the last 3 years. Well, that's going to be gone when Jordan Clarkson gets moved. But I think it's absolutely necessary. And the way, again, that you turned Dante Exum into Jordan Clarkson, Danny Ainge is capable of far more than that. And I think you have to believe that Danny Ainge can get that job done.
And I want to make sure that we do a really good job distinguishing what Jordan's doing here, because I don't want to see comments today about, Jordan wants to leave so he can kick rocks, get his ass out of here.
Yeah, no.
That's not what this is, and I need you guys to understand that. Do you understand? And I just want to make this really clear. Jordan Clarkson could have said nothing, right? He could have played out the strings, said nothing, kept his intentions close to the vest.
Right.
He could have done that and then not signed the extension and screwed the Jazz and said, all right, see you later.
Walking away in the summer.
I'll see you guys later. You're not getting anything from me. But that's not what he's doing. What Jordan is doing is he's saying, okay, I respect this organization. I love this organization. unfortunately, this organization is no longer playing for, a championship, or is no longer a postseason contender, if you will, like we were. And so I understand, hey, with my particular set of circumstances, I now am being put in a position because of the tear down and rebuild to have to ask to be traded to a contender. And again, I want to emphasize, he didn't need to do that. Jordan Clarkson shouldn't be painted as some villain or as some bad guy or some guy who is just a complete time waster or negative person. That's not what this is. Jordan is helping the Jazz, man. He's saying not only is he asking or making his intentions known or his desires known early and giving, Zanuck and Danny time, but he's also kept it quiet. He hasn't been a distraction.
Yeah, I don't know that I would agree with you that Jordan is helping the Jazz. I do think a Jordan Clarkson trade helps the Jazz. I think Jordan Clarkson's number one motivation is taking care of Jordan Clarkson. And I think him getting paid, he recognizes that the only way that he's going to get paid at the top of the market, which is, again, 20. I think his value is 20 to 22. I don't see 24 to 26 as some have surmised. I think it's 20 to 22 from what I've been able to get from people I talk to around the league, that he's worth 20 to 22 million dollars on the open market. And I think teams would be willing to go 3 years. That's $66 million at the top end of that. I think that's what his motivation is. He knows that he's not going to get anywhere near $66 million from the Jazz.
But he didn't need to get out in front of this thing, is my point. Like, I'm not saying
I would agree with that.
Work,
right. I would agree with that.
But he is helping the Jazz. That's my firm opinion. He didn't need to do any of this. He didn't need to. What I mean by that is, on paper, he has no allegiance to the Jazz. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to get out in front of it. He certainly, by the way, he doesn't need to be quiet about it, yet he is. And we've seen this trend. We saw it with Donovan. We saw it with Rudy. We saw it with Royce O'Neal. These guys, there's something that happens in this organization where guys are willing to be private about the ongoing negotiations. You don't hear these guys in the media.
But who represents Jordan Clarkson too, though? Mm-hmm. Clutch Sports.
Mm-hmm. An important factor.
You know what? I think it's a very important factor. Clutch Sports is very difficult to deal with. They're very good negotiators on behalf of their clients. And I think this is really savvy business by Clutch Sports. And I think that when you look at Jordan Clarkson, I would expect nothing less. I would not expect him. Jordan's not a public figure. Jordan is a very private guy. He's a very low-key cat. I would not expect him to stand in front of the media and be like, I want out.
You know what's interesting about that, though? Because I do agree with that. But what's interesting is, for the Jazz, he was the face of the franchise until Laurie got here, until Laurie kind of got settled down.
Isn't he still, though? I look at Jordan Clarkson. I think he is. Do you agree? I think he's by far their most popular player.
He's their most popular player, but notice that the branding package is all about Lauri Markkanen, and it has been for a couple weeks.
But I think Lauri's an all-star. I think, and I should say, by the way, Jazz fans, you might want to consider, voting for Lauri Markkanen in the all-star balloting. That he is, his vote total is embarrassingly low. But I think Lauri Markkanen is just a better all-around player than JC is. Jordan Clarkson's the most popular player on this team. Mm-hmm. He's an international superstar. If you don't know, Jordan has Filipino roots, so he has a huge following.
Yes.
Globally. The guy he's just their most popular player. There's no doubt about it. You take a look around, you see a ton of 00 jerseys. I think this is a really difficult situation for Ryan Smith and the Jazz. Ryan is a very heartfelt guy. I think one of the reasons that guys like playing for the Jazz is, simply put, that the Utah Jazz take care of their guys. The Utah Jazz, if you're a player on the Jazz, you are well taken care of. You pretty much don't want for anything. And, whether that is comfortable locker rooms, whether that is better food, better hotels on the road. That was brought up to me, 2-3 months ago, that one of the things that really is attractive about this organization is the way they travel. They travel very comfortably, and not every NBA organization does. Just training table, food that's provided to them, comfort that's provided to them, the facilities they have, Vivint Arena, the Science Bank Basketball Center, they're well taken care of in Utah. Once guys get here, they don't necessarily want to leave. And when they do, it's more of a Donovan Mitchell situation where he just wasn't comfortable here. The bottom line is on Jordan Clarkson is he likes being here.
Yeah.
The bottom line on Jordan Clarkson is he's not eager to leave Salt Lake City. He's eager to get probably the final contract of his NBA career.
Yeah.
And he can't waste that financial opportunity. And so I think when you look at Jordan and you look at Clutch Sports, they're going to maximize every single penny that's available to them. And the only way that happens is to opt out of his deal in the summer. He has a player option this summer that he can walk away from, and he is going to sign a significant extension with another team. And I think he wants to win a championship. And I actually agree with Jordan on this. Summer is not when he's going to get closer to a championship. Right now, the Jazz trading Jordan Clarkson to a title contender gets them a first-round pick. And, oh, by the way, it puts him on an NBA title contender.
Yeah.
That, to me, is the best, most respectable move for Jordan Clarkson. And I'm telling you, who's the team that fits that bill the most? No, it's the Phoenix Suns, because the Suns have all of their first-round picks. That nets the Jazz what they need, and the Phoenix Suns absolutely need Jordan Clarkson's production as a sixth man.
Yeah.
I will again say, and I was told it yesterday, the Phoenix Suns are the most aggressive team on the phones in the NBA. If you're the Phoenix Suns, how are you not inquiring about Jordan Clarkson?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me that you're not. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see him end up in Phoenix. I would not be surprised to see Jordan Clarkson, even though I don't believe that they are an NBA title contender. I would not be surprised to see the Knicks aggressively pursuing Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised to see the Cleveland Cavaliers aggressively pursuing Jordan Clarkson.
Facts.
You put Clarkson on that team, they're instantly an Eastern Conference Finals contender. There is no doubt about
And
that.
they do need help in their second unit, for
There
sure.
is
Yeah.
there is no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I will just be repetitive and say my NBA sources told me yesterday there is a robust market for Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, like, you know, when a JC deal happens, because it's not if, it's when, it's going to happen, you know, how that impacts the Jazz roster, because I think that, you know, this whole spin, and I think that, you know, with him coming back today and, you know, he's going to start getting his minutes again, you know, you look at, you know, guys go up a rung on the roster, you know, so now, you know, you insert Colin into the starting lineup. Maybe NAW is your sixth man now. This gives you the opportunity to play THT quite a bit more, so you can trade him more quickly. You know, Rudy Gay's god-awful defense might see some more minutes until they do something with him.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, it just changes things. So it'll be interesting to see how it impacts the roster.
All right, before we get to your comments, let's remind you that all of our NBA and our Jazz Talk is presented by Quick Quack Car Wash. Awesome experience again yesterday at Quick Quack. Drove the Audi through, and it was quick. You know, I was worried it was dinner time. I thought for sure, hey, you know, it's 5:30. This line's going to be crazy. And there was a line at Quick Quack in the district. But guess what? In and out in 5 minutes. Boom, done. Across the street, Protein Foundry. It took me longer to get my shake at Protein Foundry in the district than it did to get a Quick Quack car wash yesterday. That's how quick and efficient they are. Klaus looks amazing. It always looks amazing. And the best part about Quick Quack is you deal with human beings. I love, love, love that I don't have to put my credit card into a machine at Quick Quack Car Wash. I hand it to the guy. He runs it through. Or in my case, the best part is I've only had to do that one time because now I have a membership. I pay $21.99 a month. He puts my license plate in, flu game. Hey, Monty, how are you? Here's your dashboard wipe. Cool. They run me through. Car looks great. See you over the weekend. It's that simple. I'm in and out of there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm in and out of there no matter how, it feels like no matter how long the line is, I'm in and out in 5 minutes. So I love my guys at Quick Quack. Make sure you find them, and when you go through the car wash, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. All right, let's talk Utah Jazz with you. As always, we appreciate you guys being here. Let's see. Who's our lucky winner of the first one through today? Let's go with Kenai Johnson. KJ, good to see you, my friend. He says, top of the morning, fellas. I was reading about John Collins and the Jazz for Vando and Beasley. Do it. Oh, I think the deal that still makes the most sense is that you would send and I believe it's Beasley and Vando end up in Phoenix. And now I think you can replace Beasley with Clarkson and Vando end up in Phoenix. Because I think you have to make 2 trades. I think to get the most value out of it, you've got to keep Beasley and Clarkson out of the same deal. I think you get far more value that way. That's just my opinion. But let's say it's Beasley and Vando to Phoenix. You would end up sending a guy like Talon Horton-Tucker to Atlanta, who also gets Jay Crowder from Phoenix. And the Jazz end up with John Collins from Atlanta and, whoever that filler might be to make the contract work or to make the trades work contractually. And I think you go about your life. I love John Collins on this team. I will go to my grave and say the biggest hole on this 2022-2023 Utah Jazz roster is without question a power forward.
Facts.
And I think John's a good rebounder. I think that he needs development. And this is the organization currently that is doing a great job developing its talent, whether that's Malik Beasley, a veteran, NAW, Walker Kessler, I think, has evolved. Like, you look at the way that they're getting the most out of guys. I look at Lauri Markkanen as another guy that's developed. He was never this dynamic in Chicago or Cleveland. He was a guy that would settle for the three-point shot. It was easy to defend Lauri Markkanen in Chicago and Cleveland. It's not so easy to defend him in Utah because he's more dynamic. He's running the floor. He's clearly in better physical condition, Lauri Markkanen is, than he's been at any other time in his career. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Absolutely, it makes a lot of sense. Troy Cushing, how the heck are you? Troy is a member of the program. Morning, my guys. Would love to see what Danny has in store for the draft.
Program.
Well, I would love to see Danny Ainge have at a minimum 4 first-round picks in this draft. And if he's able to do that, man, I'm telling you, if Danny Ainge has 4 first-round picks, I mean, I have to believe he's going to package those picks for a star.
Well, and I would imagine, he's got, 3 right now, and then, that deal before the JC stuff happened, you knew, hey, he's probably going to pick up a 4th for this year. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if he had, 5.
It would not at all. Giggity, how the heck are you? Good to see you. A member as well. Gage Carter, also a member. Morning, guys. I would love to see John Collins in a Jazz jersey.
Why?
Yeah,
What's your take on it?
Yeah, Gage is a Southerner, my friends. Mm-hmm. So Gage sees a lot of John Collins. Salty drunk in Australia, our international contingency. The championship is irrelevant. It's all about the mighty dollar. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I think for JC, it's all about the dollar. But yeah, I mean, it is a big factor for sure. I don't disagree with you 100%, but I'm not going to sit here and say the guy is just trying to be a paid assassin. I mean, I think there's no doubt that a guy in Jordan Clarkson's position cares about getting a championship. He does.
I would agree with that. A hundo P. Kurt Myers says, morning, people. BYU let the Zags steal one last night. No. Contrairement for BYU not only put it on a silver platter, okay? It was a platinum platter. They gift wrapped the game. And I thought it was really cool that they put the game in a cute little gift box, used really cool wrapping paper, and then put a nice little hand-tied bow on top of it, and just presented the victory to Gonzaga. Don't call me Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Did you see the way that, no, I'm going to stop.
Next comment.
That was an absolute debacle. No, before next comment. Did you see the end of the Gonzaga BYU game where Gonzaga comes down to take a 1-point lead after BYU misses a free throw that would have made it a 3-point game? The Zags get the rebound, promptly dribble down the floor and shoot an unmolested 3-point shot. I mean,
Is this the dagger?
You might, and I know that I'm a talk show host. I am not a basketball coach.
Right.
You might want to put a hand up. I know it's groundbreaking. I know it's groundbreaking. It's crazy talk. I would put a hand up on a 3-point shooter from Gonzaga.
Hell out of here with that.
Might want to put it. I know it's crazy. It's Friday. I haven't had a lot of sleep.
Why do you gaslight people? Why you got to say ridiculous things? Come on, like contesting a wide open shot with the game on the line. Come on.
My brain is in a fog. But you might want to put a hand up on a 3 against Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Idiots.
Go play intramurals, brother.
You should. If you're not going to defend a 3 when you're up 2, what good is it?
Idiot.
All right. Josh Loverin says, steal one. Kurt, BYU choked down the stretch. They were careless with the basketball and played some very questionable defense as well. I agree. Morning, Teddy Wayman, who's also
Teddy?
a member. By the way, have you become a member of the program?
Dude, yesterday was quite the day in the membership Instagram chat. Now, yesterday, I do recall you became famous yesterday in a national level, right?
I did.
Like you made an appearance on Jim Rome's show.
That's right, I did. We were sitting around the Monty Show compound, and Jim Rome has a segment called "What's Your Beef?" and the calls were terrible, so I decided to upgrade the calls yesterday. I do what I can do here on the program.
Now, again, if you were a member, you'd have seen that because it was epic. It may have included a guy wearing a thong in Walmart. May have included something about the Costco sample table. Might have included something about some douchebag talking about rear windshield wipers and not using a turn signal. You know. Like, it might have included some of that stuff. So you should be a member just for the pure comedy.
Okay, here's how you become a member of the program.
Right.
I'm going to put a link in the comments right now. There you go. And all you have to do is click that link. You join. It's $9.99 a month, and here's what you get. You get an exclusive members-only video on a daily basis right here on the Monty Show YouTube channel. But you also get access into our members-only Instagram chat group, which is great. During the BYU game last night, we were all chatting it up about BYU. We were all watching the game together. There was an argument over, Jordan Clarkson's value. Like, there was just, it's awesome. It's a community of folks, and all we do is sit around, chop up sports, chop up life, share pictures of our dogs.
You got 3 videos yesterday, if you were a member. You got the upload, right? But then you got the JC information before anybody else had it.
Correct.
Right? And then you got the Jim Rome call, which was incredible.
It was
Absolutely incredible.
It was incredible. I was proud of myself.
Yeah,
yesterday.
that was pretty good.
That was awesome. Let's see. Ron Nolan says, Monty, you said 3 weeks ago the Jazz would be contending for an NBA championship in 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your point?
What's your point being? Call it what it is, gold digger. So you're saying that Jordan Clarkson's being a gold digger? So if I said to you, hey, man, I know you've worked at this company for 25 years, but you can get a $7 million per year raise if you go across the street. And I know that you guys print 3D widgets over here, but they're the best 3D widget printing company in the business right now, and they want to pay you $20 million more total. Do you want to go and take a job over there?
No.
So wait, you would say no to that. And then if you did, we could all call you a gold digger.
Don't lie to me.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for clarifying. Steve Hambone, why not just keep Jordan Clarkson for 6-man? That would be an ideal spot for a team. He deserves to be here. Well, the problem is I think Jordan Clarkson doesn't want to be here at the current number. I think Jordan Clarkson would love to finish his career in a Jazz uniform. The problem is Jordan Clarkson is giving away, depending on who you believe, between $6 and $8 million a year if he resigns with the Jazz.
Yeah. Which is never going to happen.
If you are Jordan Clarkson, or if you are representing Jordan Clarkson, just so we're all on the same page, you would advise him to stay here and give up $20 to $24 million total compensation? That ain't walking around money, dude. That ain't walking around money. If you're Jordan Clarkson, if you're the Jazz, you would love to keep him. I think Jordan Clarkson would like to finish his career in a Jazz uniform. He ain't giving up $24 million to do that.
And nobody in their right mind would.
No.
And that's why I'm saying don't vilify this guy. Be better.
I'd rather get Jonathan Isaac for less rather than going for Collins. Yeah, I think Jonathan Isaac is a pipe dream. And the problem is, and I don't know, I should look this up before I say it, but Jonathan Isaac has missed a lot of time. And I don't hate Jonathan Isaac, but I just don't know that he doesn't play a lot of games. He's coming off of a major, I'm not here for that right now. John Collins to me is a lower risk. And anytime you're making a big trade, I think you have to consider the risk of it.
Yeah.
I think you have to. H.E. Pennypacker says, let Ainge cook.
Agreed.
I agree. BTS Dance Studio says Lakers. Lakers on a championship contender. Did anybody see Dallas and the Lakers last night?
Mm-hmm.
And did you see Luka had a 30-point triple-double last night?
My name is Luca.
A 30-point triple-double for Luka. And LeBron did not get a single call in the fourth quarter or overtime.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. The Lakers got fouled on a game-winning three-point chance.
Clearly.
But why did you pass that ball, LeBron James? LeBron should have shot that ball. He didn't. Then in overtime, he goes to the basket with the game on the line, gets hammered underneath, no call. They go to double overtime, and Luka wins it.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. Like, how are you not getting calls? How are you not getting calls if you're LeBron James at Crypto, at home, at Crypto? How are you not getting calls?
That's what I was going to say.
That's
in your
amazing.
Own building.
I don't get it. Talking with Raphael podcast says, make sure you hit the like button. Appreciate that. Edgar Garcia, Monty Jake, correct, and you are correct. He is looking outside for himself while also helping the Jazz out. Yeah, don't disagree with that. Big Dog O-Town, how are you? The moment he said he didn't want to sign the extension, he was showing much respect to the Jazz if you know the business side of basketball. I don't disagree with that at all.
Shout out to Mobamba.
I don't disagree with that. Luis Capazzo says Clarkson is not pulling a Hayward. Thank goodness he has backbone and didn't want a bad stigma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not here for all the people hating on the guy. I don't understand why there are people hating on the guy. And I'm not saying most of you are, but there is clearly a contingent that is like, oh, well, hey, he doesn't want to play here. See ya. Like, I just don't understand that. I firmly am in the camp that, I'd even go as far as to say he's doing the Jazz a favor. Because, again, he didn't need to share any of this. He didn't need, like, from a business perspective, it would have been easier to just say, nope, I'm on my player option, not resigning here. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah, I just...
But he didn't do that.
No, yeah. Troy Cushing says the NBA is a business. These players are all looking to win and make money, and I don't think there's anything. And again, you bring up Gordon Hayward as we talk Utah Jazz on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at Quick Quack Car Wash. I will tell you, Gordon Hayward's only mistake is executing the blog. Gordon Hayward made the exact same decision you, me, your mom, and your cousin would have made. We'd all taken the money from Boston.
Yeah.
We all would have. By the way, has his decision been validated? Yeah, I think it is. It has. Yep, no doubt about it. If Gordon Hayward doesn't snap that twig his first game out for the Celtics, I think I could make the argument that they win a championship.
Nar.
I think they would have won a championship with Gordon Hayward on that team. And, yeah, you could make the argument that roster moves would have been done. Okay, the Boston Celtics with a healthy Gordon Hayward were better than the Utah Jazz. Point blank. By the way, why haven't you thanked Gordon Hayward for Donovan Mitchell yet? Because if Gordon's here, Don's not. Like, there's a give and take on everything.
Yep.
And it's so incredible to me that sports fans can't see that.